Listen, life doesn't reward the weak. My disciplined mind is for people who are done talking and ready to execute. You don't need motivation, you need discipline. You don't need shortcuts, you need action. You don't need luck, you need intent. We're here to forge strength, physically, mentally, and beyond. Discipline, action, intent. Now let's get to work. You say you want to change. You say you want to level up, build discipline, get in shape, make more money, be the kind of person who handles their business. But here's a reality. You're the one stopping you. Not your circumstances, not your past, not your job, your genetics, or your upbringing. You. Your excuses and your hesitation. Your inability to get out of your own damn way. So let's cut through the bullshit. If you're stuck, it's because you're choosing to be. And until you own that, nothing changes. So, what does it mean to get in your own way? This isn't complicated. Getting in your own way means you know exactly what you need to do, but you don't do it. You hesitate, you procrastinate, you second guess yourself. You wait for motivation, the perfect moment, or some magical sign that tells you it's time. Let me tell you right now, that moment isn't coming. If you're still sitting around waiting to feel ready, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. This is how people waste years. They don't decide, they don't move. They just sit in the same cycle of, I'll start tomorrow, until one day they wake up, look in the mirror, and wonder where the last decade went. Let's make this real. Here's what getting in your own way actually looks like in real life. You want to get in shape, but you keep making excuses. I'll start after work gets less stressful. I need to find the right program first. I just don't have the energy right now. Translation: you don't actually want it bad enough. You say you want success, but you're addicted to planning instead of doing. You read the books, watch the YouTube videos, follow the right people, but you haven't taken a single action today that actually moves you forward. Planning is not progress. Stop hiding behind preparation because you're scared to execute. You have zero discipline, but blame everything but yourself. I don't have time. You have time for Netflix, social media, and scrolling bullshit. I'm just not motivated. Motivation is weak. Discipline is what gets shit done. I don't know where to start. Pick something and move. Action creates clarity. Sound familiar? If it does, you need to hear this. You are not a victim of your situation. You are a victim of your own mindset. So why do you do this? Why do you keep standing in your own way like an idiot when you know better? Let's break it down. Fear of failure. You don't want to look stupid. You're afraid to start because you don't want to fail. You don't want to look weak. You don't want to suck at something new. Guess what? You're gonna suck at the beginning. That's how it works. But sitting around doing nothing is way worse than trying and failing. What if I fail? What if you never even try? That's failure. The complete opposite. Fear of success. You're afraid of what comes next. You might not even be afraid of failing. You might be afraid of what happens if you actually succeed. Because success means expectations rise. It means you have to keep showing up. It means no more excuses. So you sabotage yourself early just to avoid the pressure of leveling up. You're addicted to comfort. You default to whatever is easiest. You choose comfort over growth every time. You skip the gym because it's easier to sit on your ass. You stay in a job you hate because it's easier than starting something new. You let bad habits run your life because discipline takes effort. Comfort is killing you. If you don't start actively choosing discomfort, you will stay weak. You keep telling yourself bullshit stories. I'm not ready. Guess what? You'll never feel ready. You get ready by doing. I need more information. No, you need to execute. I don't have time. You have time for what you prioritize. If you have time to scroll, you have time to work. Your biggest problem isn't lack of opportunity. It's that you keep believing your own bullshit instead of forcing yourself to take action. Here's what happens when you keep standing in your own way. Every day you hesitate, you get weaker. Discipline is like a muscle. Every time you let yourself off the hook, it gets harder to start. You don't just stay the same, you get worse. Your problems don't stay neutral, they get worse. Your body doesn't stay the same, it deteriorates. Your confidence doesn't stay the same, it weakens. Your discipline doesn't stay the same, it disappears. Opportunities don't wait for you. That window of opportunity you keep telling yourself you'll take, one day, it closes. Success isn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about taking action when things aren't perfect. 5 years from now, you're either going to look back and be proud of what you built, or you're going to be in the exact same place, making the exact same excuses. Which one is it? So let's be real. You are the problem. But you're also the solution. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to do it for you. And if you don't get out of your own way, you're going to stay exactly where you are. The choice is yours. Keep hesitating, keep making excuses, keep being a spectator in your own life. Or decide that you're done standing in your own way and start actually moving. And that's exactly what we're going to break down. How to spot these self-sabotaging patterns in real time so you can start breaking free from them. Look, I get it. I've been there. I've made excuses. I've told myself the same lies to justify an action. I stood in my own way more times than I can count. But here's the difference. I made a choice to stop bullshitting myself. A choice to stop waiting for the right moment, the perfect conditions, or for life to hand me what I wanted. I got tired of being stuck, so I did something about it. And that's what I need you to understand. Until you start recognizing how you are keeping yourself small, you can't fix it. You can't solve a problem you refuse to acknowledge. So let's cut the noise and expose the ways you keep sabotaging yourself. Most people don't fail because of external circumstances. They fail because they play mental games with themselves. And here's how that looks. Procrastination disguised as planning. You tell yourself you need more time to plan, more research, more knowledge before you can start. You convince yourself you're being smart by waiting. But let's be real. You're just scared to execute. You want to start a business, but instead of launching, you spend months watching videos and taking notes like a college student with no test. You want to get in shape, but instead of actually going to the gym, you spend hours researching programs, debating which one is the best. You waste time preparing instead of moving, because movement means risk. Movement means you could fail. So instead, you stay comfortable, pretending you're making progress while doing absolutely nothing. Seeking validation instead of taking action. You talk about your goals instead of working on them. You tell people your plans because deep down, you want them to validate you, to tell you it's a great idea, to hype you up, to give you the illusion of progress without actually doing anything. Real work is done in silence. The people who are actually building don't have time to sit around talking about what they plan to do. Stop trying to get credit for a job you haven't done yet. Less talking, more doing. Overthinking everything, or better known as analysis paralysis. You drown yourself in what ifs. You think through every possible scenario before you make a move. And in the process, you do nothing. What if it doesn't work? Then adjust and keep going. What if I fail? You probably will, and that's a part of the process. What if I don't feel ready? You won't. Move anyway. Overthinking is just a fear in disguise. At some point, you have to stop thinking and start moving. Letting emotions dictate your actions. You let your feelings run the show instead of your discipline. You move when you feel like it and stop when you don't. But that's exactly why you're inconsistent and why nothing ever sticks. You don't feel like waking up early, so you hit snooze. You don't feel like working out, so you skip the gym. You don't feel like working on your goals, so you waste another day scrolling on your phone. Successful people don't operate on feelings. They operate on standards. They do it whether they feel like it or not. That is the difference. Choosing distractions over progress. You have time, you just don't use it right. You convince yourself you're busy, but if you looked at how you actually spend your day, I guarantee you most of it is garbage. How much time do you waste on your phone, watching pointless YouTube videos, or even binging Netflix? If you have time to do all that, you have time to build something meaningful. You just don't want it bad enough. Your distractions are killing your progress, and the worst part, you're letting it happen. All right, so now you know the ways you sabotage yourself, but how do you catch yourself in real time before you waste another day, week, or year? Pay attention to your excuses. Every time you say, I'll do it later, that's a red flag. Every time you tell yourself you don't have time, but somehow you end up watching 100 TikToks, that's a red flag. Every time you plan, but don't execute, that's a red flag. Your excuses sound valid in the moment, but zoom out and they look pathetic. Notice when you're choosing comfort over growth is uncomfortable. It requires sacrifice. So if everything you're doing feels easy, you're not growing. If you are always choosing what's comfortable, whether that's sleeping in, skipping workouts, avoiding hard conversations, you're actively holding yourself back. Be brutally honest with yourself when you catch yourself slacking. Call yourself out, no sugarcoating. Ask yourself, if I keep doing what I'm doing right now, where will I be in 6 months, 1 year, or 5 years? If that makes you uncomfortable, good. Use it. Self-awareness is your weapon, but only if you use it to change, not to justify staying the same. Look, I've been in these traps before. I've made the same mistakes. I've wasted time, made excuses, and let myself off the hook more times than I'd like to admit. But here's the difference. I decided I was done. I decided I was tired of being my own worst enemy. And that's a choice you have to make too. Because no one is coming to pull you out of this. No one is going to shake you awake and force you to get your life together. That's your job. So the question is, are you finally ready to stop being the problem and start being the solution? Next, we're going to break down exactly how to do that, how to start recognizing these patterns in real time, stop giving in to them, and finally move forward without hesitation. At this point, you know how you've been sabotaging yourself. You see the patterns, the procrastination, the excuses, the overthinking, the addiction to comfort. You see how it's kept you stuck. But knowing isn't enough. Self-awareness is worthless if you don't do something about it. So now we're going to talk about how to catch yourself in the act and stop falling for your own bullshit in real time. Because that's the key. If you can recognize the moment you're about to repeat the same cycle, you can stop it before it happens. And if you do that consistently, you'll change everything. Your brain is sneaky. It will always default to the easiest, most comfortable option. It will make you believe your excuses are valid. It will convince you that delaying is the smart move. So you need to start treating your thoughts with suspicion. Every time you hesitate, you're telling yourself a story. You need to start listening to what that story is so you can call it out immediately. Are you telling yourself you'll start tomorrow? Bullshit. Tomorrow's just your way of avoiding discomfort today. Are you telling yourself you don't have enough time? Look at your screen time. Look at how much time you waste. You have time, you just don't prioritize what matters. Are you telling yourself you're not ready? No one is. The only way to be ready is to start. Are you telling yourself you'll wait until you feel like it? Discipline doesn't care how you feel. Either you do it or you don't. You need to treat your excuses like an enemy trying to keep you weak, because that's exactly what they are. The moment you hear that familiar excuse in your head, recognize it, reject it, and act anyway. Every time you catch yourself hesitating, make a move. Right then, no debate, no thinking, just action. About to skip the gym? Grab your shoes and go. No discussions. Hesitating on sending that message, making that call, or starting that project? Do it now. Don't give your brain time to negotiate. Thinking about putting something off until later? Flip that thought and do it now. Hesitation is where dreams die. The longer you sit in that moment of indecision, the harder it becomes to take action. Kill hesitation before it kills your progress. If you rely on motivation or willpower, you'll lose. Your brain will always look for the easy way out. That's why you need rules, not feelings. Decide ahead of time that certain things are non-negotiable. For example, if you say you're working out 4 days a week, it happens. No excuses. No exceptions. Period. If you say you're waking up at 5 a.m., you get up. No snooze button, no just 10 more minutes. If you commit to a task, you'll finish it. No, I'll do it later. You don't give yourself a choice. You don't debate it. You do it because you said you would. That is how discipline is built. Right now, your brain is wired to avoid discomfort. That needs to change. You need to train yourself to see discomfort as a signal to move forward, not back down. When you feel like skipping a workout, that's the moment you absolutely need to go. When you feel like procrastinating, that's the moment you need to start. When you feel like avoiding something hard, that's the thing you must do first. If you start doing this consistently, something crazy happens. You stop fearing discomfort. You stop looking for the easy way out. Instead, you start chasing the hard stuff because you know that's where the growth is. And once that shift happens, you become unstoppable. Recognizing the pattern in real time is step one. But step two is making sure you don't keep falling back into old habits. Here's how to break the cycle permanently. Most people let themselves slide because they aren't keeping track. If you don't measure your consistency, you'll always think you're doing better than you actually are. Start keeping score. Did you follow through on your commitments today? Yes or no? Did you take action instead of making an excuse? Yes or no? At the end of each day, you should know exactly where you won and where you failed. No hiding, no lying to yourself. If you can't be honest with yourself, you'll never change. Success in anything is about stacking wins. Every time you follow through, you reinforce the habit of execution. Every time you hesitate and do it anyway, you rewire your brain. Get to the gym once? Good. Do it again. Wake up early one day? Good. Now do it every day until it's just what you do. Push through resistance once? Good. Now make that your default response to discomfort. The more wins you stack, the easier it gets. Momentum is real. You just have to stop killing it with the inconsistency. You don't need to feel like it. You don't need to be motivated. You just need to do it. No more mental debates. No more just 5 more minutes. No more trying to justify why today's not the day. You don't negotiate brushing your teeth. You just do it. You don't negotiate whether or not to show up for work. You just do it. That's how you need to treat your habits and commitments. They are not up for debate ever. The second you stop giving yourself an option, everything changes. Look, you can either keep living in the cycle of hesitation, excuses, and wasted time, or you can decide that you're done with that bullshit and start moving. The people who get ahead aren't always the smartest, the strongest, or the most talented. They're the ones who stop thinking so much and just execute. They don't let their feelings dictate their actions. They don't let excuses win. They move first, figure out the rest later. So stop getting in your own way. Stop waiting. Stop hesitating. If you want to change, act like it. Next, we're going to talk about what it actually looks like to train yourself to move forward with purpose. Not just random action, but intentional movement that actually gets you where you want to go. All right, so we've exposed the problem. You see how you've been getting in your own way. You know the patterns. You know how to catch yourself before you sabotage your own progress. That's huge. But here's the thing. Just moving isn't enough. If you want real results, you can't just take random action. You need to move with intent, with purpose, with a clear vision of where you're going and why. Because if you don't, you'll still end up lost, just moving in circles instead of making real progress. Most people aren't making progress because they don't actually know what they're chasing. They say they want to get better, but what does that mean? Better at what? How will you measure it? When will you know you're there? You can't hit a target you can't see. You need to get crystal clear on exactly what you're working towards, or you'll keep flailing around with no direction. Saying, I want to be disciplined isn't enough. Saying, I want to be in shape isn't enough. You need to define it. I want to build discipline. What does that actually mean? What habits are non-negotiable? What actions will prove you're disciplined? I want to get in shape. What's the goal? A certain weight? A strength level? A visual standard? Make it measurable. I want to make more money. How much? By when? What steps will get you there? If you can't define it, you can't measure it. If you can't measure it, you'll never know if you're actually making progress. Once you've defined your target, the next question is simple. Are your daily actions actually leading you there? You say you want to be disciplined, but do your habits prove it? You say you want to get stronger, but do your workouts match that goal? You say you want to build a business, but are you actually doing the work or just thinking about it? You don't get results from what you want. You get results from what you do every single day. You ever see someone who just moves differently? A guy who walks into the gym and you know he's not just there to work out, he's there to train? A person who works on his business like it's life or death? Or someone who treats their discipline like it's the foundation of everything? That's someone moving with purpose. That's someone who has a clear mission and everything they do is aligned with it. If you want to get anywhere in life, that's how you have to move. You think you have time. You think you can afford to take it slow. That's the biggest lie you tell yourself. Every day you waste is a day you'll never get back. Every excuse you make is delaying the life you say you want. If you had 6 months to accomplish your goal instead of 6 years, how differently would you move? That's the mindset you need because time is running out and you have no idea how much you actually have left. You don't quit the things that are non-negotiable. If you're still treating your goals like optional things you'll do when it's convenient, you're already lost. You don't try to be disciplined. You either are or you're not. You don't try to stay consistent. You either show up or you don't. You don't try to commit. You burn the boats and you leave no way out but forward. The moment you stop giving yourself an escape route, your only choice is success. Every time you avoid the hard thing, you reinforce the habit of running. And every time you choose to face it, you reinforce the habit of showing up. If a workout feels tough, that means you need to push harder. If a challenge in your business is overwhelming, that means you need to tackle it head on. If you're nervous about doing something, that means you absolutely need to do it. You need to start seeing resistance as your compass. If something makes you uncomfortable, that's exactly where you need to go. Look, the difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck isn't talent. It isn't intelligence. It's not even motivation. It's intent. The folks who win move with clarity, with urgency, and with a complete refusal to let excuses or resistance stop them. You can either keep moving like someone who has all the time in the world, or you can start treating your goals like they actually matter, like your future depends on them, like your life depends on them. Because in a way, guess what? It does. Next, we're going to tie all of this back to the core pillars: discipline over feelings, action over excuses, and intent over mediocrity. Because at the end of the day, this is what it all comes down to. At this point, you have everything you need to stop getting in your own way. You know the patterns that are keeping you stuck. You know how to catch yourself when you start slipping. You know how to move with intent instead of just staying busy. But all of this, every strategy, every mindset shift, every action step, it all comes back to three simple principles. Three pillars that, if you actually live by them, will change everything about how you operate. Discipline over feelings, actions over excuses, intent over mediocrity. If you internalize these and let them guide you in every decision you make, you will not fail. Because these are the things that separate the people who get shit done from the ones who just talk about it. If you only take one thing away from this episode, let it be this: your feelings don't matter. They mean nothing. They do not get a vote in whether or not you do what needs to be done. You do not need to feel like training to train. You do not need to feel like working to work. You do not need to feel like showing up to show up. The moment you let discipline take control instead of your feelings, you win. Because you'll move forward no matter what. And that's how you separate yourself from 99% of the people who let their emotions run their lives. Actions over excuses, because nothing happens without it. Most people lose because they overthink, because they wait, because they convince themselves they need more time, more knowledge, more motivation. Meanwhile, the guy who just starts is already ahead of them. You don't need more time. You need to stop wasting the time you have. You don't need more motivation. You need to take action until it becomes second nature. You don't need to wait for the right moment. The right moment is always right now. Action is the only thing that moves the needle. The people who take action, even when it's messy, even when they're unsure, are the ones who win, period. Intent over mediocrity, because going through the motions isn't enough. There's a difference between just doing something and doing it with purpose. A lot of people show up, but they're not really in it. They're half-assing their efforts and wondering why they aren't seeing results. Going to the gym without intent equals wasted workouts. Working without intent, no real progress. Living without intent, just existing instead of actually building. You don't need to rise to the level of your goals. You need to fall to the level of your standards. If you accept mediocrity, you will get mediocre results. If you move with purpose, you will separate yourself from everyone else sleepwalking through life. All right, no more talking. Let's break it down into exactly what you need to do next so you don't just listen to this episode and do nothing with it. Call yourself out right now. What's the number one way you've been getting in your own way? Be honest with yourself. No sugarcoating. Say it out loud if you have to. Are you overthinking instead of moving? Are you making excuses about time, motivation, or energy? Are you stuck in a cycle of procrastination and hesitation? Until you acknowledge it, you can't change it. Own it so you can destroy it. Choose one area to fix immediately. Pick one thing, just one. Something you've been avoiding or delaying that you know you need to do now. If it's your fitness, go train today. No waiting, no hesitation. If it's your discipline, wake up on time tomorrow. No snooze button, no debate. If it's something in your business or personal life, handle it today. No, I'll do it later. Start small if you have to, but start. Because momentum only happens when you stop hesitating and make a move. Decide what's a non-negotiable from now on. No more sometimes, no more when I feel like it. You need rules that you follow no matter what. What's the one thing you will do every day without fail? What's your non-negotiable when it comes to training? What excuse will you never allow yourself to use again? Your standards define you. Set them high and refuse to break them. You already know what you need to do. The only thing left is to do it. You don't need permission. You don't need another sign. You don't need someone to push you. You just need to make the choice. Because here's the truth. If you don't fix this, no one will. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hold your hand and make you take action. You either get out of your own way or you stay stuck. It is that simple. So the question is, what are you going to do right now to prove to yourself that you're done with the old version of you? No more talking, no more waiting, move. All right, that's it for today. If this episode hit home for you, if it made you realize where you've been in your own way, do something with it. Take action. And if you got value from this, it would mean a lot if you could leave a review, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and tag me on social media. Every share helps this message reach more people who need that push. And remember, if you're serious about getting out of your own way, DM me right now and tell me what you've been stuck on and what you're committing to change. No more waiting, no more excuses. Let's get to work. Appreciate you tuning in. See you in the next episode.